Ain't it lonesome, ain't it lonesome, when the one you love is not around, when the sun goes down. Last night I lay down sleeping, and I was thinking to myself, yeah, last night I lay down sleeping, I was thinking to myself, yeah, the one that you're loving is loving someone else when the sun goes down. And pals, yes, I'm going away. Goodbye, old sweetheart and pals, yes, I'm going away. Yeah, but I may be back to see you some old rainy day when the sun goes down. Alright, you just heard me play and sing my version of In the Evening When the Sun Goes Down, originally recorded by Leroy Carr and composed, but most people I think know the version of Big Bill Broonzy, which he recorded in the 50s in his acoustic period there. I also took some ideas of the almost inevitable Lonnie Johnson, especially for the solo of course, and also some ideas from a version by Happy Tram. So we're in standard tuning, playing out of the key of E, and this song has a real cool swing feel, slow swing feel. And I think the main difficulty is getting the timing right, because it's so slow, and to get the vocals with the guitar integrated. I tapped out the introduction, the first verse, the second verse, and the solo. The third verse, which I didn't tap out, is a mix of the first two verses. So you have all the information to get it right there. I also wrote the lyrics under the tab for the first two verses anyway, so you know exactly where to sing what. Okay, let's start with the introduction. So we're starting with bending, and I'm using 2 fingers to do that bend. It's much easier to do that way. And in the performance video I used a temp for the whole introduction, well, for the single string runs anyway. It's a bit more fat sound. Don't forget that vibrato there, and it rings into the next beat, a full beat. So it's 2 beats. I'm muting by resting my temp on the that's a turnaround, which we will use the whole song. So sliding from the E chord to the 4th and 5th frets of the 3rd and the 5th string, then moving them apart, and the open 3rd string and the 1st fret back to our E chord. In the evening, baby, when the sun, baby, when the sun goes down, in the evening, baby, when the sun goes down. Ain't it lonesome, ain't it lonesome, when the one you love is not around, when the sun goes down. Alright, note that the singing starts in the 4th measure, in the last beat, where I don't play any guitar. You could do, of course, in the evening and hit that B7 one more time, but I chose, let's say, a rest there. In the evening. And here we have a B7 just walking up and playing the open E string in between. Then we're going to an A chord. I call that the Robert Johnson A chord, which he uses in his song Kind-Hearted Woman. Yeah. Just 5, 6, 5 on the 2nd, 3rd and 4th string. And then we're going to a very hard chord, the A9. Which Brown McGee uses a lot in the E form, the E9, just moved up, but our index is on the 5th fret. And the best thing to change the chords from the A for the first 2 beats and then 2 beats for the A9 is leave your index finger in place and move the other fingers. Practice it a little bit and it will work out. And if it's too difficult for you, here's an easy way out. In the evening, you just for those 2 last beats of the 9th measure, add your pinky to the 7th fret. So you have this chord remains the same, just add the pinky to the 1st string 7th fret. That's an easy variation. It's almost the same. All right, let's recapitulate. In the evening, when the sun goes down. And I muted the 2nd and the 4th beat. And the A9 is an arpeggio. Thumb, index, middle, ring finger. And slide down. Well, not slide there, that's later, sorry. So measures 7 and 8 are, well, a fill up. And then slide to the 9th fret, bend the 7th fret 2nd string. using 2 fingers if possible for that bend. And then it's not a triplet, you can use a triplet there, the last beat of measure 7. Just a little flick there. And then you have your B7 position, well, partially moved up to the 7th fret, so it becomes an E7. And we're going to move that up and down there. Down. And then place the 2nd finger on the 7th fret, 5th string. In the evening. And now, so the first 2 beats of the 9th measure, where we go to the A. And then we have a A7. That's your D7 position, moved up to the 9th fret. And the pinky is added, sorry, the index finger is added to the 4th string, 7th fret. So you have a nice A7 there. Evening. Back to our A. Baby, when the sun goes down. And we have a G sharp minor. I use my 3rd finger to fret strings 2, 3 and 4. And you can use all kinds of variations, of course. You can use a bar and add your 3rd finger to the 4th string, 2 frets higher. Or just like I did. And the important notes are the 2nd and the 3rd string and the bass. If you have those, you sound right. And I use those 3 fingers to pick temp, index, middle and ring finger held together, 1 for each string. And a little hammer on while we go back to the E chord. Baby, when the sun goes down. Bend, and then in 1 beat we're gonna hammer on the open 1st string to the 2nd fret and playing the 2nd fret of the 2nd string, but very fast. And don't hang around on that 2nd string. The moment you hit it, just release. Slide and vibrato for the 5th fret, 2nd string, sorry. So again, measure 10 till the end of measure 12. Baby, when the sun goes down. Ain't it? Just one remark. I noticed that I do that best with the 2nd finger, not my 1st finger. I don't know why, but I think maybe because your 2nd finger here, your middle finger, is usually the longest finger. And I think it's stronger than my index. Anyway, practice and see that the result is there. And whatever works. And if you bend with 2 fingers, then that 2nd finger is already in place. Ain't it lonesome, ain't it lonesome, when the one you love is not around, when the sun goes down. So we have the B7 section, bar 13. Starts with the last beat of bar 12. Ain't it, which is part of our E chord. Ain't it lonesome, ain't it lonesome. I use the temp here, just a downstroke, little downstroke there. lonesome, ain't it lonesome? No, sorry. Ain't it lonesome, ain't it lonesome? Notice that third beat of the 13th measure is one full beat there, so don't be too fast to go to that 4th fret there. Lonesome, ain't it lonesome, when the sun, no, sorry, when your loved one is not around. And there we go to an A chord, bar the 2nd fret, and add the C sharp there, the 4th fret, 5th string. And there in the last beat, I'm switching chords within the beat. Ain't it lonesome, ain't it lonesome, when the one you love is not around. And sometimes I use a little ghost note there. Open 3rd string. You hear it barely, but it's there. So, and then we have the turnaround. When the sun goes down. Last night I lay down sleeping, and I was thinking to myself. Last night I lay down sleeping, thinking to myself, yeah, the one that you love is loving someone else when the sun goes down. So what's happening there? In bar 16, so I'm hitting down that B7 chord, upstroke, down, and the open 3rd and 4th string, and then I'm forming my E chord, and you hear very slightly hammer on there. I'm not playing it like that, but because I'm playing the open strings and placing the chord, you get that. Last night I lay down. Gotta practice this. I find it easiest to simply bar my 3rd finger here, the ring finger. It's already in place, you just have to do this. You form the E chords. Don't have to be able to play this while you're reading the newspaper. And I'm muting the basses with my palm very lightly. If I wouldn't do that, it would sound like this. There's nothing funky there. So we only play the A when we form, just before we form the chord there. All right. Last night I lay down thinking, and I was thinking to myself. Last night I lay down thinking, sleeping music, of course, not thinking. I was thinking later. I was wrong there saying it. Anyway. And then we're going to the, well, we're doing the same thing as in the first verse. The B7 4 moves up, and then the A. And since our initial phrase, the first phrase, we didn't use, of course, the very nasty A9 chord. So it is our A7 here, which we use again, and then and instead of playing a lick like that, we're gonna move into some jazz chording. Sounds nice in this soft, almost erotic song. So bar 21. And here, in the last beat of measure 22, we're forming some kind of E chord. 5th fret, 4th fret, 2nd fret. 5th fret is muted because it doesn't sound good with the 6th string on the 4th fret. I mute the 1st string as well, and almost by grabbing this chord, it's almost automatically muted. So bar 22, self. And then it's followed by, and then we're moving back all the fingers 1 fret except the index finger. Keep that on the 2nd fret, 4th string. And it sounds like a C7, but with a pinky added to the 4th fret. So one more time from, let's do from bar 19 where we go. Last night I lay down sleeping, I was thinking to myself, moving up. Sorry. I think you get that, and in the tab it's pretty clear written out, of course. And then we have the typical Lonnie Johnson solo. Lonnie Johnson usually, and I'm talking about his pre-war period, but recordings between 1925 and roughly 37, where he used this fetish tuning, the dropped G tuning, with first 4 strings in standard tuning and the 5th and the 6th string tuned down to G and D, but he was playing out of the key of D. Then it's handy because we have the open string for the 1 chord, the D, and the open G string for the 4 chords. Anyway, pretty much all of his solos are transposable to the key of E. You just have to move everything 2 strings up, 2 frets up. And I did a lesson on, and it's called Lonnie Johnson in the key of E. If I don't forget it, I will put a link in the video description. And let's start with a solo. So it ends, or it begins with measure 27, where Alright, let's begin with what we just did. We're going to play 4 beats. I just have to say that last beat of measure 27, where I play a triplet. The B7 down and open. And if I wouldn't do that, it would sound like this. So I'm tapping my foot. Those 2 notes, they just fill the thing up. And mute it afterwards. We don't want to ring them while we're playing the solo. So you have a choice there, of course. You can simply... So 4 beats of that triplet, then 1 beat. Back again. 1 beat, 1 beat, 1 beat, going to our D shape moved up, so you have an E. And I'm playing the whole thing with my 2 fingers. Middle finger for the first string, index finger for the second string. And if you play hard enough, that 3rd string will ring. Of course, we don't want that here. I'm muting my 3rd string with my 2nd finger moved up a little bit. Or I use the middle finger to touch it. Your choice, but if you want to play it with, well, let's say attitude like I do, and if you don't do that, it sounds like this. No, you can't do that. And it gets a little funky there if you play that hard enough. And please do listen carefully to the performance video. I use a lot of dynamics there, and you can add variation there. You don't have to play like me here first hard and then softly. You can do it the other way around, so. Sorry. So, again, because I didn't finish that, 4 beats, 1 beat, 1 beat, 1 beat, 1 beat, going up, 1 beat, 1 beat, 2 beats, and then you form again your D-shaped chord with the G sharp now, and you can vary the fourth you're hitting it. See, softly. Then the first 2 strings will ring a bit harder than the 3rd string will ring as well. And then move, that's for 2 beats, and then 2 beats of the A, and then in measure 32, we're gonna 1 beat, add the pinky to the 12th fret, 1 beat, again the A, and then so triplet, da 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 da, and then not a triplet, but dum ba, 1, 2, 3, very fast. Alright, so we had, and then more or less liquid it in the bar 7, because that's the same thing. Bend and bend into the next beat, and then comes, I think, the hardest thing of the whole song, the typical Lonnie Johnson flick. So, in 1 beat you're going to play the bass with your middle, the 5th fret 2nd string, with your index the 6th fret 3rd string and release that one you played, and again the 5th fret 2nd string. See, it's so fast. That you almost only hear. You can of course replace that by simply playing the E there. But it's something Lonnie Johnson does very often in his old recordings. It is followed by double bass. And I'm going to play it very slow. I'm not going to say 2nd finger on the 6th fret, on the 7th fret and so on. You just have to follow there. And then the B. Sorry. Okay, one more time, very slowly. Sorry. Alright, so that was the solo. By the way, in my Lonnie Johnson ebooks there are plenty of solos, and this one in pieces of course is very common, so to speak. So you're going to find a lot of those things in those lessons. Also on the signature lick, there's a separate lesson on it. So check them out if you want to know more about Lonnie Johnson. I think it's handy to study him, because you see, this is not a Lonnie Johnson song, but you can add a solo in his style easily, and it fits really well. It's sophisticated, it's sort of unusual apart from the usual stuff you play in the key of E a la Lightning Hopkins. So I think this is a nice departure. Right, maybe I'll play the difficult section one more time from let's say bar 33. What I want to say about this bar 36, the second part, second half, no bass in that section. One full beat for a bend and then release, muted with my picking finger, and notice when we go to I'm releasing when I play the second string. You don't want to ring that into the next beat. The second string, the A, E, yeah, okay, but not. That's the signature lick. So we have the double stop here. And then second finger to the 8th fret. And I'm playing it with the right hand index. And also with right hand index. And then with simply I'm moving, that's the 3rd finger, and the 2nd finger goes down. I think that's the easiest way to play it. All right, then we have the third verse. Goodbye, old sweetheart and pal. Yes, I'm going away. That's the same as the first verse. And then we have a different fill. So 3 times. 4th fret, followed by open, and a bit faster there. This is in between beats. And then E7, yeah. And the rest is the same as in the second verse where we go to. So you got that. And in the end phrase, when the sun, and there I hold, goes down. That's the lick of bar 11. And there's the nasty E9 again. Like that. Here it's easier to grab your E7 and then your 3rd finger on the 2nd fret 1st string and move the whole thing up. So that's it in the evening when the sun goes down. Have fun with it.